Alright, well it's the next day and it's light outside, so now I can show you my latest score. This is just like this one over here, a 96 SLX. Now the difference is this one seems to be in a lot better shape. However, that one, the under part of the hull is in a better shape, but the upper part is not. This one's just the opposite. This one has the under part is it's kind of scratched up. It has a few gouges. You know, as you can see, somebody left it sitting up against a rock. Those are just surface scratches. But then there's one gouge right there that runs down almost the entire length. Now, it's not very deep. I mean, it is just the top layer right there. But, you know, just like anything else, if you're going to be picky about it, and I guess the reason it shows up is because it's red underneath here. You can see it's got an R&D grate. So, I mean, it's a proper SLX for sure. So what I'm going to do now, this cylinder and this cylinder have no compression. This one has 140 some odd, something ungodly. Now look down inside the hole. It looked like there's a hole in that piston. So hopefully it's just a hold and this thing is still an index. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go get my wrenches. I'm going to take off each one of these and just see how bad it is, because if it turns out that it's going to be a whole lot more work, then it's better just to part it out. But if it's just hold the pistons due to bad maintenance on the carburetor, then it's going to be a good deal to rebuild this thing. Just put a new top end kit on it, put it back in here. This is actually pretty clean on the inside. We had a little bit of rain last night like an idiot. I didn't have the seat down very good, so I got a little bit of water inside of it. Other than that, I mean, it's a pretty clean little unit. You know, of course, you should rebuild the carburetors and all that stuff. I got up underneath it, and the impeller actually has some nicks in it. So I will be using the whole impeller set or the jet pump off of that one because it's in pristine condition. So, but you can see this one has a few of the sticker rubs and stuff like that. But for what I gave for this thing, I can't complain. And then this thing right here works like a champ. Absolutely no issues. It doesn't have that typical problem that most of these things have with not being able to see the display. So, and I've got a guy who's coming to buy this trailer and that trailer to get them off of there. So that way I'll get rid of them. And then I have this one on sale on Craigslist right now. I had a couple of guys that are supposed to come look at it. Alright, so I've got all the screws off, got the water rail off and everything. Now I have not done anything, so you're going to witness this just with me, how bad this is. Now remember, this cylinder does not have any compression, so use a little rubber mallet to kind of break it loose. Don't use anything metal. Just as I thought. Got a little hole in the piston. Wow, that's actually great news. With the exception is if this crank is out of index, then I'm screwed, but I bet you this guy just ran it lean. I mean, look at those cylinder walls. Wow. That's awesome town right there. Top of the head's in good shape too. Nice. Alright, so I'm going to put the camera down. I'm going to take off the rest of the heads and just kind of take a look at them, and then we'll pull the pump off just to kind of see what kind of shape it's in also. So that way I can decide what I want to do. I really like this hull just because it has all the extra pieces that I need on this one. I don't have to switch it out, whereas that one doesn't. But it's got the better hull, so I got a decision to make. Maybe you guys can help me out as which hull to use. Do I use that one or do I use this one? Both have titles, both are pretty good, but this one has kind of a bunged up bottom. And it's got a few things else wrong with it here. Little deal's not, I don't know. I just need to think. I don't know what I'll use. They're both good skis. Alright, well, it's supposedly good news. Same thing happened here. Burned a hole in the piston. Now, if that was just the front one and not the back one, I'd feel a little bit better. But you got to go in here and really check the crank index and make sure that this is okay, because you see the piston wash on that one? It's actually very good, which leads me to believe this thing got turned upside down, and they got water in there, and they cranked it over and hydrolocked it, and that ends up putting the crank timing out of sync, and therefore it ends up burning these two cylinders up. So I don't know, I'm gonna pull this out after I finish stripping that one down, pull this engine out and try to figure out what caused the problem if the crank's still an index. That way if I rebuild it, I'm not going to have the same problem. So that's the main thing, make sure you don't have the same problem again. Solve where the issue came from. So anyway, I'm going to pull the pump out of this now and see how it looks and inspect the drive shaft. Okay, so I got all the bolts out of this thing. They're basically 4 13mm bolts that hold on. They go way the hell back in there. And then you got to take the steering input off. Here's another reason why I might be using the other hole, is that the steering cable's kind of in bad shape. And then you got to take the trim pump deal off here. And that's just a simple cotter pin. I'll just yank it out of there. Yeah, easier said than done. There we go. Okay, so now that's out of there. Sometimes these pumps are really difficult to get out. Sometimes they just fall out. Like this one's acting like it's gonna. Let's see here. Put it down here and well, got to remember you got to take off this piece right here. That's your little siphon that comes from the inside of the hull. It takes excess water out. This has a bilge pump and one of those also, so you got to take all that off too. I'm going to shut the camera off and really yank on it, because you actually got to take a 2x4 sometimes and stick it in here and kind of pry back and forth to get it loose. And if the propeller or the impeller shaft where it attaches to the engine is dry, it doesn't want to come out. So sometimes it'll just come off of the impeller and you have to wait till you get the engine out, take it out the opposite way, and then spray some release oil down in there to release it. So I'm gonna get this thing off. All right, one thing you want to, by the way, it came out okay. One thing you want to inspect when you pull it out is the end up here. And whoever had this one really did a good job of keeping their stuff nice and greased. There's a bunch of grease on here. And you want to make sure that these little teeth, make sure they're not sharp. These are nice and kind of squared off, whereas I have one over here that the teeth are really, really sharp. So, I mean, it's usable, but considering they don't make these damn things anymore, but it's not in perfect shape. But other than that, this one looks okay. It does have some pretty bad dings on the impeller. I wonder if you can refurb these things. I've never heard anybody doing that, but possible. I don't know. But I got another one that's in perfect shape, so I'm not worried about it. And this one's, the stator's kind of dinged up. Looks like they got a hold of some rocks. So, oh well. If I didn't have another one, I'd be a little upset, but we're all good. So that's how that thing comes out. And I'm going to actually look at that's a 95 pump over there. I'm going to look at and see what the big difference is between the two. Supposedly the impellers are different. Alright, well, I took apart the 95 impeller housing, and they are a little bit different. And this is the one that has been on my SLX over here for forever, all this summer. And it's in pretty decent shape. There are some nicks in the stator, but obviously it still runs. It may hurt a little bit of performance, but for a ski that's 15 years old, it's not that big of a deal. But anyway, I think that's it. It's getting a little chilly out. We're expecting freezing temperatures tonight, and for a Texas boy like me, it's down in the 50s right now. It's pretty cold. So I think I'll go in there, edit the video, upload it for you guys, and you can see my latest conquest. And then I have to decide whether to use this hole right there or this hole. Okay. This one has a lot of cosmetic trim pieces missing, which obviously could be cannibalized from that one right there. The stickers on this one are in much better shape. That one has better HydroTurf, which honestly can be replaced. But I just don't know what to do, which to keep. I mean, the hole on the bottom of this one is absolutely flawless. I mean, it is, well, I say flawless. It's got a couple little dings, but not like this one that has a couple of, gouges that go down it. So, I don't know. Tell me what you think, and I've got a couple of days to make up my mind, because I've got a buyer for one of these holes, whichever one I choose. So, anyway, that's what's going on, and I'm going in to grab me a beer and warm up a little bit.